Hello everybody, welcome to Skeshbook podcast. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about a fear of not making it. What if you don't make it as an artist? What if you don't make it? What if I don't make it? What if the thing that we always wanted to happen didn't happen? And how can we get over that fear? And what are the systems, strategies that you can use to sort of get to a place of good understanding? So that is what this episode is all about. So let's jump into it. Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. This podcast is all about art, creativity, and making a living out of it. I'm Kesh. I'm an artist, illustrator, and a YouTuber.
Hey guys, I'm Praveen, and the question of the day is...
Who are you, Praveen, by the way? Who are you?
Nice human being.
You're a nice human being, and I just ruined our intro. So go ahead. What were you saying?
Right. The question of the day is what if? Go on.
What if this wall right there is green? Just kidding. What if I don't make it? What if you don't make it? What if you will not become that artist that you always wanted to become? What if you turn 55 years old and you look back at your life and you have accomplished nothing? What if that bird outside the window right now stops shouting because it's shouting real bad? Right? So that's what the podcast is all about, man. And another thing is this, right? This is something that I face. I've faced a lot. And this I still do till today, but I'm I have an interesting perspective on it, which is it has helped me sort of quote unquote overcome this fear. Okay. But it's still there.
All right.
To the same degree which I used to have before. And in today's episode, right, here's what we're gonna do. It's not like sort of like all of our podcasts are not like an advice session, because I don't want this to become that. All of these episodes are about us going through these topics, right? Exploring and thinking about these things and trying to, arrive at a better place so that we have a better understanding of all these things.
Right.
It's even for me. Yes, all of the episodes and all of these things that we're doing is just us trying to explore these things. Even though I may or may not know a couple of things, I don't know a lot of things. I don't know a lot of things, right? I do know very, 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 add like 1,000 more veries in there, little things, right?
Are we talking about this specific topic or?
Yeah, this specific topic and art in general, right? Like all the things that are there to do with art, all the mental and issues that we go through where we when it comes to making something, the emotions that people go through, how to start something, how to finish something, what's involved in going through starting and finishing something, right? All these things. So that is what I want to sort of clear up before we start. But I do have a goal for this podcast. I want us to explore, right, and come to a better place in terms of understanding, right, in our head, regarding these what if fears. What if I don't make it? What if this project that I started fails? What if I'm putting in so much work and none of it pans out? What if that thing that I always wanted is something that I may not want, right? Or I couldn't get it. Right?
Yeah.
What if I'm not the person who I thought I was? A classic imposter syndrome thing, right? That trust me, man. Most artists have these things. Do you have it?
Yep. I mean, it's such a huge topic, to be honest. Right when you're saying this, I'm thinking there's so many different factors that involve in it. One side, there's like confidence, there's overconfidence. Another side, when do you really decide to start thinking, what if I don't make it? Because I feel like some people start thinking real soon, like they just start and it doesn't work out. They're like, okay, what if I don't make it? And that's going to be a negative thing as well. When you ask me that question, that's what I went through. I'm like, what if I don't make it? I'm like, dude, you didn't even start yet. So
that's a simple way to end the podcast. That is it, folks. I'll see you in the next episode.
That would be a good way to stop.
All right.
So yeah, there's so many different topics that I would like to explore with you. I see you make a lot of stuff, but I can also see that you don't consider yourself that you made it, right? Because there's so much that you want to do. And then there's me where I really want to start and I'm fearing.
First stop with the flattery. Jesus Christ.
I literally just said you didn't make it yet. How is that flattering?
Oh, right. Okay.
Right, yeah.
Good.
All right. So and then there's me who's even like, I'm even like kind of fearing the fact that I want to start. What if this is not the right time to start? And everything flops as soon as I start, and then I don't even later on I don't even have the guts to start. Something like that. There's so much stuff.
Right.
So I would like to explore that.
All right. We'll start with that then. Yes. So that is the goal right here, right? So explore these what if fears and hopefully get over them.
Right.
And I have a couple of strategies which has sort of helped me get over a couple of what if fears in my life, right? A couple of these things, especially this what if I don't make it part. Right. To be honest, this day and age, I don't really care.
Oh, okay.
I really don't care but it used to be a huge thing. So this is where I want to sort of start with, my history with this whole what if I don't make it as an artist. Right. What if I don't do the things that I want to do? So what is it that I always wanted to do? I've always wanted to be, I had a couple of goals when I was young, which is a mixture of, a certain goals that you get for that particular age. Things like you want to be a famous artist. I want to be like the Justin Bieber of art, right? Yeah. Right. And you have a couple of reasonable goals. Like I want to make an animated feature film, right? I want to start like an animated studio? No, animation studio. Right. I don't want to start an animated studio.
That you could have done it.
That's pretty easy. I just need to whip out Procreate and just do it right now. So, those were my goals, right? And then a couple of things like another big what if fear that I used to have. What if I never make any money, right? I'm pursuing this art career, right? I started from a very broke place. What if I don't actually make decent enough money to live a decent enough life, right? Now that has been proven wrong, so I'm sort of happy on that part, right? But though there's always that fear. Right now I have this, what if, this whole world of business and building businesses is just, most businesses are not long-term or not sustainable. Then I actually put myself in the ground and actually see the realities of things, then actually I'm able to see a better perspective. So that's another thing which I want to get into later, right? So back to my thing. I've always wanted to do these things, and I used to have these very debilitating fears of, what if I don't do this? What if I don't make it?
Right.
And what happens, right? What happens because of that is a couple of things. One, physiologically, I was in a constant state of, fear. Everything is sort of trembling around me. Every little step that I took, was taken with a sense of doubt. Right? I think, every little step was taken with a sense of doubt. And I didn't take a lot of opportunities, right? I didn't take a lot of opportunities, go and pursue a lot of things because I was in this constant state of panic and fear. Right? And I didn't pursue them. And also, I missed out on a lot of these opportunities thinking that if I actually take those opportunities, it will actually distract me from my main goal. But in fact, in reality, it was like this. I could have actually taken that opportunities and I could have reached my same goal.
Right.
Except I would have taken a different route, right? So this whole thing... Ooh, Laurie. Right, this whole thing... Again, Laurie.
He really wants to be in this podcast.
Yeah, our co-host, that Indian Laurie, is just passing by the road right now. Anyways, this whole thing, right? Man, that guy threw me off again. No.
So you had a couple of these fears.
A lot.
Which I think what you were trying to say is that because you were fearing of not making it, you didn't even start, which was exactly what I'm going through right now is what I think.
Right. So where is it that you want to be?
I think I should start, but the fear.
No. Where is it that you want to be? So we're establishing the goal and the vision.
I would like to get to that too, because you said, you said that you want to be the Justin Bieber of
That's not my goal anymore.
Not
please.
Anymore.
I was a stupid teenager.
That's where I'm at right now. So, and
he's not a teenager though.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Right. He acts like one though. God, sorry.
So, I think I do chase fame, and with what you're saying right now, I don't think you do that anymore.
I do.
You do?
To very less degree.
Right.
Because I don't think that'll ever go away. Just like you need enough money in your life,
right.
And enough power in your life. A lot of what I say might not be politically correct.
Right.
But this is what people feel. They want a certain sense of power, right?
And
certain sense of, say, notoriety. They want, especially also, they don't want to think and they don't want other people to think of themselves as losers, right? And quote unquote losers. Nothing against losers. I mean, lost already. So
it doesn't matter what I say.
but yes, right? I mean, there's that. I don't do that anymore. Not to a lot, but I do chase it. It's not like I don't. I'm this super zen, peaceful monk living in a mountain in Tibet. Don't care about fame anymore. No.
Maybe that might change as it did for you, but for right now, when you ask like that, that's kind of where I want to be right now. If I think like, where do you really want to be? Like, I feel like, okay, I kind of chase fame, and I don't see that as a bad thing. So that is where I want to be. But the fear of to start only comes to me when I fear of not making it. So that's
so most people don't start.
Yeah.
Because they don't think they'll actually make it.
Right.
So how do we cure this fear? Or not cure, how do we get over this? Because a lot of it is actually in your mind, is what I think. A lot of it is actually these are self-constructed beliefs that we have about ourselves. Most of it is probably placed by others into us, or we have constructed them to sort of protect ourselves from failure. So what I do have right now, right, is before we go through this whole overcoming the fear part and thinking about overcoming this fear part, first you need to ask ourselves, can you actually make it as an artist or as a musician or this person or that person in your career? Right? We need to ask this question before we come to the things, these steps or these mindset changes which I used, which really helped me overcome this fear and get to a place where I can actually take risks. Because it's not a surefire. Once you overcome the fear, it's not like, it's a surefire thing. No, it's not like that. It's more like you have the ability to take a risk. So first, we need to ask ourselves a question. Can you make it as an artist? One, I wanted to answer this question because a lot of people, write in the comments, message me, email me. They send stuff to us asking, "Can I do this? Will I be able to make it?" I'm a college kid, and I just graduated out of college. I don't know if this whole thing seems real, if this whole thing seems possible, and everything seems uncertain. They cannot see a clear path, a clear way in front of them. This is very key right there. This sense of uncertainty, which we really need to get into, right? They don't see a clear path, and they're asking the question. They're asking me, a third person who doesn't know anything about them, right? Can I make it, or can they make it, right? And for that, I say yes and no. Meaning, or another way to put it is, it's a question only you can answer. The person who's asking can answer. The reason why they're asking that question is this, right? When they go ahead and look up to their people and they know the things that they're sort of in a decent place, and they're going and asking it to them because they want a certain sense of certainty, right?
Yeah.
If I start working out today, at least I want to be slightly better looking than I am in 6 to 8 months. Yeah. If I'm not, what is the point? If a person starts to work out in order to look good, right? With that goal in mind, right? They want a certain sense of certainty.
Right.
That is why people are asking these questions. what people need to realize is, no matter how much certainty you get, none of that matters, because a lot of factors go into you, quote unquote, making it. Meaning, what is your strength? What are your weaknesses?
Right.
What are you capable of? Are you able to do this particular thing or that particular thing? Are you able to, how are you built temperamentally, right? Can you take a lot of crap for a couple of years and still grind things out? Or you're more like a consistent person? Are you like a more safer person? You like to take calculated risks? All of these things you need to look into yourself, like we spoke about in the previous podcast, negotiate, right, with ourselves, and then sort of answer that question. Self-awareness is key here. This is very, very true, right? I used to think, man, I wanted to be a lot of things. I wanted to be this guy in sports, that guy in thing. I wanted to be like a basketball player, not a basketball player, this super fit athlete. Then I realized I don't have the genetics for it. Right? Self-awareness, right? I don't think I can be Michael Jordan.
Right.
And nobody thinks that too. So I mean, you cannot be Picasso.
There's no way.
You can't even draw. I mean, you can be, sort of.
Yeah. If I take drawing camp.
Yeah, if you take drawing camp, which is, by the way, the sponsor. Who's, by the way, the sponsor of this podcast? we need to keep forgetting our sponsor. Jesus, why do we do this? Anyways, right? So, yeah, there's that.
Right. So,
people need self-awareness. Yeah.
Right. So, here's another thing, right? So, me starting out, I fear this. I know my strengths, I know my weakness, and I'm really, really sure that I'm a burn all the bridges guy. I don't know. I noticed that about myself.
Right.
When you say negotiate,
so you have no options to go back.
Yeah. I do that a lot, and most of the times it works.
Actually, it works pretty well. Yes.
Right? Did you do that ever?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't have any bridges to burn, so
you had only one bridge.
I had one bridge, and it's like, take it, or wait, there's no bridges to burn. Yeah.
All right. So in the long term, when you ask me, will I achieve my dreams, right? I do see that. I'm like always sure, 100%. Yes, I will. I don't see myself in any other form in my future. But like releasing my first song or releasing my first project, finishing my first project, I'm not sure if I'll make it. And it's very confusing. I'm like so, certain about making it in the future. But then I'm not sure if my first song will make it.
First song will make it,
right? Or my first project took like anything like that.
In the sense, will you make it? In the sense, will you complete it? Do you have fears of you being able to complete it, or for it to be a hit or something? Right. A hit.
Yeah.
Right. That's pretty normal, I think.
But isn't that weird that I'm so confident that I'll be a very
because that
successful artist?
Yeah. That is far out in the future. You're not able to see the costs and the opportunities of it. This is very near to your present moment, and you're able to see you're able to see what needs to go into it in terms of the things that you need to put in, right? The costs you need to pay, and also the opportunities you may or may not get.
Right. So doesn't that put me in a spot where I'm like, okay, so maybe I just think I'm gonna make it just because I don't have a clear vision on it.
So to say that again.
Doesn't that put me in a spot where I'm like, okay, so that means I think I'm going to be a really successful artist only because I don't have a clear vision on it?
I don't understand that question. Why is it?
I'm not being clear?
Yeah. What if you don't? What?
So you're saying,
right?
I'm certain, I fear of not making it when it comes to my first song or my first project.
Right.
Because I can see that this is how much there's financially I need to bear this much. These are the kind of steps
for the short-term project.
For the short term, because it's close, I can see all kinds of obstacles.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Yes. That's what I meant by you're able to see the costs.
Right.
Meaning
exactly.
The obstacles.
So that puts me in a spot where I'm like, okay, so I am confident that I'm gonna make it successful as an artist or whatever.
Right.
Only because I'm not clear about all the obstacles that I'm gonna face. Right.
That's what I meant. Like I told you, right? It's so out in the future. You're not able to see the costs of it.
Right.
When I say costs, I mean the work you need to put in, the obstacles you're going to face, the sacrifices that you need to make, right? You're not able to see that, and you will also not able to you will also not be able to see the opportunities that you'll gain from it, the things you need to put in and things that you will get out. You won't be able to see both clearly. You'll have an idea of it, right? Unless you get close to it, right? It's sort of like, go into surgery. Right, like 3 days out from surgery, you're not scared. It's surgery. I actually do have a minor surgery.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
that back thing that I told you.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a little thing. It's a minor procedure, is what they told me. It'll probably take 20 to 30 minutes on the back of my neck, which is sort of I'm scared of. Oh, right. Nothing. I've considered a couple of doctors, so
all right.
I'm not scared right now.
Okay.
Right, but when I get into that bloody room, it's like, holy crap, what's gonna happen? Am I gonna get paralyzed?
Right.
So when we get nearer to certain things, we were able to sort of see. Yeah, that's what I think, right? When you're when you go near to something, it's like, have you ever hosted a program in your college?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
A couple of days before the program, when you're the host, you don't care much about it, right? Or you have some speaking gig, but on the day, right, on the minute, 30 minutes before the thing, it's like your heart is like about to jump out of your mouth and go dancing, right?
Right.
So that is
right,
possibly
so
it.
With that mindset, this is where it's like really confusing, and it all leads to this. So I feel like self-confidence plays a huge role in like starting anything, and to even have, I feel like you should have the mindset that you will make it when you at least start out.
Yeah.
Right. Or else you lack motivation, you lack the confidence. Yeah. Ideas don't come in. You're just gonna give up. Right.
You're getting into the stuff that I want to go. Yeah. You're right.
That's good.
Yeah. That is one of the things. That is one of the main things. Actually, we can sort of go to it right now then.
Right.
So I've told you what fears that I used to have. I still have a couple of what if fears, right? A couple of what if fears. But this what if fears is like so big with everybody. It's just like, what if this happens? What if this doesn't happen?
Right.
What if this happens in this way, right? Everything is like, what if? I think a lot of it stems from people's inability to face uncertainty or bear uncertainty.
Okay.
Right? That is a key little thing right there. That sense of certainty is what people want. Right. But if you look at it, I still cannot deal with uncertainty. Uncertainty is one of my biggest fears. Right. And I still cannot bear it. But at the same time, if you think about it, right, maybe we'll probably break things down. Why do people want to be certain? People want to be certain so that they can feel safe. Right. Why do people want to feel safe? They don't want to die. Right. They don't want to die, or they don't want to go through public humiliation, embarrassment. Right. They don't want these things. They don't want to lose something. Right? Like that. That is why people want to feel certain. So we are sort of breaking that down. And how can we understand that uncertainty, or actually most things are actually uncertain. For example, there is no certainty that we'll live tomorrow. The sense of certainty that we feel right now is a stream of successful living days that we have sort of gone through in the past. Right. I've lived for 8,000 days. I think I'll live tomorrow. Right. Approximately. Right. That's how this thing works. I'm 27, so I don't know. It's 8,000 or 9,000 days. So we have a stream of successes that gives us that certainty that we will live tomorrow, right? And like that, these streams of successes and failures will give someone a certain level of certainty or uncertainty about something, right? If I had if I had tried to do something, right? If I had tried to do something and that thing kept on, I know I can hear the cooker sounds. I don't care, really. We'll just keep on rolling the podcast. If I had failed repeatedly with my workout programs over the years, and I've failed to achieve my results, then that means the next time I put myself through a workout program, I don't think I'll have the confidence or the certainty to even a little degree that this time that I will succeed. Right. Yeah. So this whole feeling of certainty and uncertainty is just a myth that we create in our head. And it's also not a myth in a sense that it's a stream of successes and failures that will sort of motivate us or demotivate us to do something. That is one main thing. Alrighty, I'm quickly interrupting you right now for a little sponsored segment. This podcast is sponsored by who? Drawing Camp, folks. Drawing Camp is my program. We have no other podcast on the show. It's like, we're not sponsored by Squarespace, Skillshare, or Wix. We're sponsored by Drawing Camp. and on a serious note, right? So it's a program. It's a program for artists, illustrators, and cartoonists who are looking for a structured way to turn themselves into professionals, basically, illustrators and artists and cartoonists. And this whole program is structured in a day-to-day format, and it starts from the foundations. We go through things one step at a time, learning the foundations of drawing, getting good at drawing first, and then moving on to design, character design principles, learning anatomy, learning character design, right? Creating our own characters, and then prop design, environment design, stylization, imaginative drawing, and at the end you put yourself through this entire process to become a holistic and a complete illustrator, which is the same process that I've used in the past 5 to 6 years to get where I am in terms of my art. So yeah, check out Drawing Camp. Links down below in the description. They're our only sponsor, Only sponsor, no other sponsors for the podcast. So yeah, check it out. Links down in the description. Now back to the podcast. So I have 5 little topics or categories, right, that we can go through right now.
Okay.
One by one, which will help us either to overcome this fear, or 2 will help us have a better perspective on this whole thing. Right? So that is how we're sort of going to do it. We'll just go through one by one, then we'll just talk about it, right? So 1, I told you, I used to have this, what if I don't make it as an artist? What if I don't do this, that, blah, 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 fear? Now, practically, I don't care. And I still have that fear, but I'm just stronger.
Right.
In my ability to handle that fear. And it's not much of a fear these days. It's more of like a ant bite,
Okay.
Before it was like an elephant bite. I don't think even though elephants don't bite, right? Before it was like an elephant bite. To a point, it paralyzed me. Right now, it's sort of like an ant bite where I'm like, not even ant. Ant is actually pretty strong. A mosquito. Like that. Right? Sometimes you don't even care. You just like shake your hands off and leave. That's how it is for me right now. And this is a very, very important distinction that I made right here, because I want to sort of us to talk about this thing. Because I have a couple of things that I came across while I'm sort of, thinking about this podcast. Very interesting things. One, right? Like we were talking about, right? The first number one thing is, right, when it comes to this, what if I don't make it question, is you need to think in terms of combination of little successes and little failures. Like I told you, right? That feeling of certainty and uncertainty that we have is a combination of little successes and little failures that we have.
All right.
At first, when I started out, I didn't have any success or any tiny ounce of success to prove that what I'm doing could even work. Right? I didn't have any sense of certainty. When I say don't have any sense of certainty or don't have any sense of uncertainty, it doesn't mean that you should be completely uncertain or completely certain. Somewhere in the middle is fine.
Right.
What I did was, when I started out, I started taking little steps, gave myself small goals and small things to do, and try to seek constant mini wins. Meaning, I told myself I'll draw every day. I drew it. And I posted that drawing. I told myself if I post 100 drawings, after that I'll probably reach 50 followers or 100 followers on Instagram, which will help me do something.
Right.
I did that. I sort of aimed small. I did the work. Because of that reason, I accomplished that goal. That gave me a little sense of success.
Right.
Then I kept on giving myself small goals. Let me make this video. I'll move one step ahead. Let me make that thing. I'll move one step ahead. Let me finish this project. I'll move one step ahead. It was like a combination of these tiny little successes, one little thing at a time. And here's the thing, right? Your mind sort of conditions to wins and failures. if you constantly fail at something, you won't go and do that thing. If you constantly win at something, you have more tendencies to do that thing.
Right.
So that is one thing. That is one thing.
No, it's that is a pretty good way to look at it, because what you did right there is like you turned yourself into the person who gives you that hope, right? Then searching for acceptance and for like approvals that'll like help you feel accomplished. You just which is better to be dependent on yourself to give you that certainty that you're gonna make it, which is great. That's what I feel like. That's what
that's why it's sort
you've accomplished with that. You know, but how do you get yourself that self-confidence to even start though? Because when
you start tiny, like your 2 push-up challenge, are you still doing it?
I am. Actually, I'm working out every day, so like yes, that is good. But here's what I think, right? To start tiny, it's really hard to get that mindset that how is this gonna lead there. It's really hard. It's really hard to get that mindset.
I can relate to that. You know, when you're starting with a tiny thing, the results are obviously tiny, and therefore you don't feel motivated enough to do that tiny thing. I would
never do that tiny thing again. But you have to do at least 10 of those tiny things to like, stack them up together so that it kind of makes sense and actually gives you a path to go there. I played my first time I ever performed was at a marriage, at a wedding. I was playing with a tabla guy who has no idea about Western music, right? And I remember coming back home that night and being like, how does this even make sense? Right. And I just stopped. But now I think about it, I'm like, I could have done it. I would have been a very different musician in wedding halls.
Right. Right. See,
but it's really hard to get that mindset.
No. I think we need a little perspective shift. So this is how I see, right? How do you build a building? So you see this big house. How do you build that building? You build it by laying one brick. Right. It's a combination of different bricks put together. So every single time when I do something little that moves me in the direction of my goals, I think of myself as laying a brick, right? I know if I keep laying bricks, that wall is going to be made. And if I do a couple of walls, that building is going to be made, right? That was a mindset shift that I had to sort of make. So I need to have a vision, and I constantly need to cheer myself up, right? Every single time when I lay a brick and say, hey, buddy, you freaking did this. Good job. Right. Again, treating ourselves like a friend. I don't do this in other areas of my life. I'm still trying to, and like I'm slowly learning to do that in my personal life, which is I'm having a blast for the past couple of months because, me and Sashi, right? Working out, eating better, right? Before that, I used to see it as an all or nothing thing. I need to work out completely well or eat clean and all that thing. Right now, I see it as every little good meal that I eat is one step towards my goal. Every little workout that I do is one step towards my goal. I'm taking baby steps, every single thing. Now this is turning into an advice session. I don't want this to happen. So that is how I see it. And that is how I saw it. Sort of helps me. Maybe if sort of, if you give it a try. So you need to think of it like this. You need to have the larger vision, right? And you're doing 2 push-ups. Right. If you do 2 push-ups, you're not probably going to get a lot of results. Right. But you need to give it a range. Right. 2 push-ups is your base. But you can do a 15-minute workout or 20-minute workout or 30 minutes or 40 minutes of working out. And that will sort of help you lead, right? And you'll be like, you know what? I just need 2 push-ups to get started today. But what if I do 30 minutes of working out? Right. And you do 3, 5, 6, 30 minutes of working out every week or every 2 weeks. That's a lot more than what you're doing right now. And at the same time, you'll be seeing small and consistent results. Again, coming to the patience part, right? A lot of this has to do with patience, being patient, right? You got to be patient. You got to be bloody patient, man. Jesus. So
that would be my next question. Patience. You are a really patient guy. No, not like that. With the way you say everything, like, okay, I'm gonna do
patient.
No. With the activities that you do, right? You're doing like 10 minutes of workout. You're fine with doing two push-ups a day. Not everyone's gonna be that way.
Because it's like we talked about in the previous podcast, I failed so many bloody times. One of the biggest lessons that I've learned is this, man. It's not about doing everything. It's about doing a couple of things well and right, and you don't have to do large things to get where you want. You just need to constantly and consistently, keyword consistently, do tiny little things to get where you want. And over time, what that tiny little thing will do is give you that sense of certainty and give you that motivation, actually, even in the face of fear, to sort of go where you want. That is how I see it. And yeah, did that answer that question?
It did, yes. But where I was leading to was, is it okay to like set yourself a time limit? Like, okay, in 2 years, I must be here.
Yes.
And how serious are you supposed to be with that?
Flexible, be flexible. Not too flexible, but be flexible. It's like, that's my plan A. I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to do it my best. I'm going to give everything that I have to achieve that plan A.
Right.
If I don't, there's a plan B. It might not look like that life can give you another chance, but you take the best chance that you have after that. I mean, what else are you going to do? Sit and mope around? Right? That is the problem.
The reason I asked that was because when I felt like, okay, I want to do this by 20, right? And then I turned 21, 22, it like really makes me anxious.
Stop that, actually. Because I used to do that. It's like, by 21, I need to do this. By 23, I need to be like this. By 24 or by 25, I need to have done this, and this. What you're actually doing is just you're giving yourself these restrictions,
right,
or these imaginary goals of where you think you should be. And you're not setting up any sort of reliable, proper systems to get there. Right? You're giving these large motivational goals that just motivates you, because the smaller things don't motivate you anymore, which will actually lead you to the goal. So you give these unrealistic goals to yourself, which you won't be able to reach because they're too unrealistic in that time frame. And then what happens is you keep on doing that. You lose patience, you lose motivation, you constantly accrued tiny milestones of failures, which will further demotivate you, and you won't get where you are. Instead, what you could have done is started small, started tiny, with room for you to play more or give more if you have more on that particular day, right? And keep on doing that. Right? Keep on showing up consistently, because I used to do that same thing. I guess
it's the age. I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely the age. Yeah.
You're in college, you just want to accomplish everything.
Everything by college. Yeah. By the time I do have stuff, goals like that. For example, I have a goal of making what am I at, 27 right now, 2 animated feature films by the time I turn 30. Right? 2 animated feature films, probably 10 to 15 or 20 short films. Right? That is my goal. Will I achieve every little single thing in that? Probably. And I'm also setting myself. I've gotten better at goal setting right now. I know what I'm capable of and not capable of, because I've set so many New Year's resolutions and I failed so many times that I know what will work for me, how much I can achieve in a particular year, month, or time. I have a good idea. I'm no expert. I'll obviously be better in 10 years, way more. I'll be more accurate, right, than I am right now. And, so I'm able to assess. I think you should set goals like that. But when you're starting out, when you're 18, 19, and 20, and you set yourself a goal like, I want to be this person by the time I'm 23, be ready to accept the fact that you could be wrong. Right? And that is fine. You don't have to worry about it. Maybe it's not 23, maybe it's 27, maybe it's 31. It doesn't matter. So,
but I think on the positive side, right? In this year, especially, I'm not even going to say this year, I feel like there's so many opportunities, and the fact of like making it makes more sense for everybody, to be honest. Like, take YouTube Shorts or TikTok for some reason, anyone who has a phone can make shorts, and pretty much they can.
I mean, if that is their goal of meaning making it,
right.
Getting followers on social media is pretty easy these days. People have different goals of making it, quote unquote, making it these days.
I do see that as a huge factor to make it on any I feel like everything can be considered as a business.
Yeah.
And on any business, you need a following for it, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So I feel like your social media game should be up on anything. Doesn't matter what you do, right?
True.
Even if you're creating an app, you need it feels like you need a portfolio for that app. You need a page for that app.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Instagram has its own account on Instagram. So
YouTube has an account on Instagram.
Yeah.
Does Instagram have a YouTube channel? No.
I think there must be. I'm pretty sure
they should start do that.
Right? Yeah, they should.
Instagram is Facebook. These guys, I'm telling you.
So on the positive side, I feel like everybody has, like we always say, right? They have the opportunity to create an opportunity. So that's a huge thing. Not a lot of people had it before.
Yeah.
Right?
True. Very true. Especially this day and age and what we have, internet.
Yeah.
Everything that we're doing right now is not literally possible 12 years back.
Right.
And 12 years ago, I was 15. Right? So it wouldn't have been possible. And that's why I don't like these 5-year goals and it's like being too restrictive about these things, because opportunities change, times change. You need a vision because you need a sense of where you want to go.
Right.
And goals are malleable.
Right.
So
I kind of dropped that. I hate that question. I know where I want to be, but if someone asks me where do you want to be in like 2 years, I have no idea.
No, I do have an idea where I want to be in 2 years.
So you say that, so that means you still do fear making it.
I still fear it, but like I told you, it's a mosquito bite.
Right.
Yeah. To a point, I don't care. So that's where sort of my second, third, fourth point, fifth point actually would sort of come. I want to sort of go through these things quickly,
right.
Because I do have a couple of really nice things I want to share.
Yes.
Right. So another thing that really helped me is being okay with failure, imagining the worst case scenario, and understanding understanding all of that through a specific set of processes which I use called ERP. Oops. Right. That's mine.
would have pushed that.
It's all right. Yeah. So right. Being okay with failure. Allow yourself to fail. So I made this video called "The Man Who Drew Every Day for 10 years," right? Yeah. And I was like everybody, every one of these artists out there, I was trying to sort of get into the habit of daily drawing. I wasn't able to do it for a long time. I was like go to like 80 days, 160 days, 170 days, then stop. Okay. It's gone. Oh, I need to do it again. Problem was I had all or nothing mentality, which I've talked about before, right? I've told you that. And another thing was I didn't allow myself to fail before. I never allowed myself to, you know what? I missed today. I don't care. Like Sashi misses days of walking, but he still keeps on going, right? He doesn't miss more than 1.5 days or 2 days, right? But he keeps on going, right? It's the repetition that counts and not this. And also imagine the worst case scenario, man.
Yes.
Imagine, what if you don't make it? Then you need to ask yourself, possibly, okay, if you don't make it, that means what would be okay that even if you don't make it, such a scenario is bearable?
I don't know. I just can't think that way.
Try.
No. I can't.
Okay, I'll give you my example. Even if I don't make it and don't, I'm not where I want to be, I just want to make sure that I've given my best in terms of trying.
What was your thought process when you thought, okay, what if I don't make it? I don't have this small little following on YouTube. I don't start doing the art that I want to do. What was your bounce? Like what would have been the other route? Yeah. What did you have in mind?
Back then, I have imagined my current worst case scenario. I don't remember my past worst case scenario. If I never made it as a YouTube thingy or an artist, I would have, like I told you, I would have lived in a very congested house, suffering with money. Oh yeah, I used to imagine this thing. Yeah, then I had to live with my parents. My parents had to support me, right? And then my mom has to sort of go to work, and the thought of my 55-year-old mom going to work to feed that unemployed artist son, right? Oh yeah, I remember doing this exercise back in 2014 or 13. No, yeah, as way back as 2012, right? I remember doing this exercise on what is the worst case scenario. I used to write that thing down. And that thing scared the hell out. There's this guy called Jordan Peterson, I told you, right? The psychologist guy. He always tells people to write their worst case scenarios, their hell, quote unquote hell. Write it down so that fear is not actually in front of you, it's behind you. Right? Instead of it standing in way of you from starting, it's sort of behind you so that it pushes you towards the thing that you want to go. Damn. That's a great realization right there.
No, that actually opened up a lot of thoughts. That fear. I think about that too. Me and couple, like when we were in college, we used to think like, dude, I just don't want to come to you in like 5 years and be like, damn, you wanted to be an artist, right? Right? And then like he's probably working in an IT company or something. It's just the worst thing ever. But like you're telling me about fear, right? That also helps you start. You know, me telling like how it's hard to get into that mindset of to start with all these fears. One thing that I do is like, what is the worst thing that can happen? When I'm like at like rock bottom, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. I don't want to do this. I'm like, okay, what is the worst thing that can happen? Okay, like what? I faint on stage. Okay, fine. And then I go home. No one's gonna know, right? I think,
and even if some people knows, you can live with it. It's fine. Yeah, right? You can live with it. Yeah.
For some reason, that weird trick just pushes me. I'm like, okay, fine. I'm just gonna go do it.
That is
right.
It.
That makes me start. So maybe you guys can try that.
that is actually logotherapy.
Yeah. What is that?
Not logotherapy. Sort of a thing which I read in a book about logotherapy, which I'll get into. Right. Next, actually, I want to talk about the fourth point is ERP. Right? Exposure and response prevention. It's a cognitive behavior therapy thing.
Damn, sounds too technical.
It's technical, right? But I'll give you a very simple thing, which is this, right? If you expose yourself to fears, it's not that the fear will go away. You'll just become stronger in your ability to handle that fear. Like I told you, this fear of what if I don't make it used to be like an elephant thing, which used to stand in front of me. Right now, it's like a mosquito bite because I constantly face that fear. So that is what exposure and response prevention is, or exposure therapy is, which is you expose yourself to a particular fear voluntarily, not by accident. You need to go into that den of dragon like a hero, right? And you need to go into it. And you can start small. You don't need to go into the den of the dragon on the day one. You can go near the mountain and just, dip your foot and say, you know what, I made it till this much today, right? And you prevent that automatic response that you get when you get scared, which is running away,
right?
Or doing something to avoid that particular thing,
right?
Instead of doing that, you stand ground and you face that fear. Easier said than done. This is bloody hard, right? This is bloody hard. But that is one of the things that I did, right? Like it told me, what if I don't make it? This and this and this will happen. But what would I be okay with? I need to be okay with me trying. At least I should have tried to get where I want to be.
No regrets.
Right. No regrets. Yeah, at least, right? If I tried my very bloody best and then failed, you know what? Fine.
That is true.
If that is what's, for me, yeah, sure. I don't mind. Right. But I should have tried.
Yes.
Right. So that is the thing. And sort of to wrap things up, right? The fifth point is this. Like you said in the first part of the podcast, self-confidence, right? Like that, two things really helped me. Faith and trust. Faith, not hope. Hope is you sort of, I really hope it happens, right? Like that. Faith is like, I'm pretty damn sure it happens. Not blind faith, which is,
right.
Oh, if it doesn't happen, I'm devastated. That is blind faith. Faith is, I'm pretty damn sure it'll happen. And if it doesn't, fine, I'll go ahead again. Right. It's sort of sense of courage and thing. And trust is trusting in that process, right? Having trust that maybe actually you could make it, right? Maybe you could make it. What if I don't make it? What if you could make it, right? What if you can? and what if the thing that you are sort of trying to achieve is possible, right? So that faith and trust, and with a combination of all these things, sort of helped me. Yeah.
Great.
Yep. 5 things. Combination of little successes, taking tiny steps, doing this and that, setting small goals and achieving them, being okay with failure, and learning to be okay with failure through exposure and response prevention, right? Just exposing yourself to fears.
Right.
And 5, faith and trust. Or that's I think there's just 4.
Let's just make it 5. Sounds like a good number.
Let's make it 5. 5 things. Yeah, that is. Even though I told this podcast won't be like an advice session, it turned out to be an advice session. I don't know why. No. I need to find a better way to do this thing.
I mean, you kind of talk to yourself when you explore yourself. It's not.
Yeah,
that's giving yourself advice.
Yeah,
it's more like.
That is what
exploring yourself. I think. I don't know.
I think I also interrupt you a lot.
That's fine.
And another thing which I came across last week, right? This was absolutely amazing. I think this is something that I need to take with heart. So there's a saying apparently in the British Air Service, the British Royal Air Force or something. Right. They have the saying called, "Who dares wins." Who dares wins. And that means those who dare wins. And what do you mean by dare? Daring is the ability to do something knowing that it may or may not succeed, being in that place of uncertainty. It's a sense of courage, actually, right? And you gotta dare, right? You gotta dare, you gotta develop that sense of courage, which is something that one of these quotes, you just come across a couple of things, right? And you just want to take it with you for life. I'm gonna put this somewhere, big on the wall. Who dares wins. And that's why we are daring to be the soon to be number 1 art podcast in the Milky Way galaxy.
Right. Feels like we're pushing it a little, but
yeah,
we can dare.
We dare you to find another podcast in Mars. Yep, that's where we live. Not Earth, Mars. Elon, fasten up, buddy. We're already there. Right. So yeah, you were saying something. I kept on interrupting you. What were you saying? What else do you want to?
I wasn't saying anything, but I would like to say this.
Yeah.
To kind of wrap things up, I would say this always works. More than anything, try to treat yourself as be your best friend. At the end of the day, more, you can battle self-confidence or negotiations like we did on the last podcast.
Yeah.
Try to give yourself the best positive thoughts, than always fearing, oh my God, am I going to make it? What if this goes wrong? What if that goes wrong? Also try to, I feel like as humans, we always lose thought of all the positive things that's around us. So
write your accomplishments.
Right. I see where you're going there. Well, it'll lead to that.
Yeah, we'll lead to that in another episode. We had something we were talking about something before the start of this one.
Soon to be.
Soon to be something. Write your accomplishments and also be okay with fear. That's where this logotherapy. So one of my favorite books, which I completed. I don't read a lot of books, and I've completed very few books. And this book called Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. He was this guy who was a psychologist who was thrown in the Nazi concentration camp during the war. And, then he came out, somehow survived the camp, and he wrote a book about it, his experiences. And he had a specific section in this book called Logotherapy in a nutshell. Logotherapy meaning. Logos means meaning.
Right.
Meaning in life. Okay. Right?
And what language is that?
I don't know. It's Latin. I don't know.
Okay.
I have no idea. Right? But he said something like this. He was talking about a guy who came to him, right? And he was always sweating. He's so scared of sweating when he went out in the public. Oh. He was so scared about sweating that he actually sweat when he went out in public.
Okay.
Right? He is sweating profusely. Then what Viktor Frankl suggested him was, you go there, and next time when you fear that you're going to sweat, think that you're going to sweat as much as possible, actually more than that you feared of, right? And what happened was all of a sudden, the sweating stopped.
How does that work?
It's like what you said, basically.
What's
You're
the
scared
worst
of
thing that can
something.
happen?
Yeah. You're scared of something. You know what? I'm scared of that thing. I wish a worse thing that I'm scared of happens. And all of a sudden, the thing that you're scared of doesn't seem scary anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Always works.
Yeah, it works. You're imagining the worst case scenario, and you're like, when you're okay with it, all of a sudden things are fine.
Right.
That is it. That is.
I started doing that when I was in college, when I was trying to, like, you know, talk to someone for the first time, you know, if it's a girl or something. I'm like, I'm gonna go ask her number. What's the worst thing that can happen? She's like, you get out of my face, right? Like, that's all right. I've faced that before. Like,
experience. Well, hopefully now that you've gotten the number, that is good.
Right.
Going strong. 3 years.
Going strong. 2 years.
2 years.
Look at this. I got this
for your anniversary.
On my 2nd year anniversary. You know what this does?
What is it?
This has like this magnetic end. This bracelet.
And she has another one?
She has another one. So, you know, whenever we hold our hands, it like connects and it does this nice little infinity thing.
I did not see that coming. That was completely a surprise. I did not see that coming at all.
We've all seen the same Instagram reel. Couple goals.
So she gifted you magnets for your 2-year anniversary.
Yeah.
She was clever.
That's one way to put it.
Right, yeah. So anyways, that is it for this podcast.
That is it.
Yeah, good. We had a good podcast, and thanks for tuning into the soon to be number one podcast in the Milky Way galaxy. And this podcast was sponsored by who?
Drawing Camp.
If you ever wanted to draw like me and sort of know the processes, systems that I use to get where I am today in terms of art, go check out Drawing Camp. Links down below in the description. 20,000 students.
Yeah, going hard.
going strong, going big, going hard, because we're number one in the Milky Way galaxy. Folks, I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.